ZEC is a very independent statutory body which is running their own affairs, and as far as I'm concerned, they have done a lot of preparations and they continue to do preparations. I haven't heard of any support coming from outside, but most of the work is being done and is continuing to be done.
Minister, let's talk about the elections. You don't win elections during voting. You win elections as part of the build-up preparations, 2 years before. And therefore, the environment must be conducive for campaigning, for preparations, for all parties or individuals who want to contest elections. There has been some reports that towards elections, there were intimidation and sometimes trampling on political party leaders' rights or individual rights to protest. This is the opportunity for Zimbabwe to set the record straight. What's your response to the criticism from opposition parties that the environment was not conducive towards elections in relation to what transpired in the country? Some going as far as saying that there were violations of human rights and people couldn't do or sell their parties freely, and protests were not allowed in some cases, not all the time.
Sophie, thank you very much. Yes, elections, you don't wait. This is a month exactly before elections. We are going to be holding our elections on the 23rd of August. And obviously work has always been there. As a government, we have been working hard from the time of inauguration in 2018. There was a lot of work which has been done. This is why, as a party, it's important to continue with the good work of building our economy. We are building our economy. Our economy, which was a former colonial economy, didn't cater for a lot of people of Zimbabwe. We've done a lot in terms of infrastructure building. We've done a lot in touching people's lives, in changing people's lives. The President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, has made it a point that he won't leave any place or anybody behind. We have also opened up Zimbabwe to business, making sure that we re-engage and engage with those who love us and those who don't love us. We have made it a point that we talk to everybody. We would like every country in the world to be our friends. We don't want enemy to none. So the issue of democracy is an issue which I want to tell you, Sophie, in Zimbabwe, we take it very seriously. It is an obligation. We are so convicted. This is something we fought for. It was conceived by an armed struggle. It didn't come on a platter in Zimbabwe. And as such, we are happy when democracy is being practiced. As a Minister of Information, my mandate was to make sure that I bring Zimbabweans together. We remove all the polarization which existed before in the First Republic, that is between the public and private media. But we have been working so hard. We have also been actually aligning our media laws to the new constitution. We've done a lot of media reforms, and that has brought a lot of our media institutions together. Our journalists, when they look at the Minister of Information, it's no longer the case before, where they would say, this is government, we are private.
Minister, let's go back to the question.
Yes.
The opposition is saying government is abusing state resources to violate the human rights, and particularly the security cluster is brutal when you have gatherings of political parties, the opposition, not all gatherings, but there has been pockets of abuse of state resources in trying to clamp down on opposition.
I don't know where this has been happening, Sophie. The truth of the matter is, what I know is we have had some journalists beaten up when they attended opposition rallies. And that has been dealt with. And we have, as a Ministry of Information, who are in charge of journalists, by the way, the welfare of journalists is very close to our hearts. We are there to make sure that we've made it a point that every journalist, whatever situation they are confronted with, they are free to walk in our offices. Our doors are open.
Opposition party, not media.
The opposition party, yes, we have also been working with them. We have held several workshops. We have actually brought everybody on board to talk about who we are as Zimbabweans, that when we go for elections, what is that we want. We have taken secretary generals of opposition parties and ruling party, putting them in under one roof. We have taken the police, put them under one roof, took everybody who is interested in understanding the processes of elections, and we have done several of those workshops, and they have actually come up with very good fruits. We have actually seen Zimbabweans coming together and understanding. For your information, Sophie, I don't know where this is coming from. I was at the nomination court on the 21st, which is on Wednesday. And there we were mingling and talking with everybody from all corners, from all different political parties. There is no polarization as that what is being painted. We accept our differences. We accept to get on the table and differ to agree if there is that possibility. We also have opened up for criticism. We, as a Ministry of Information, we've opened up the media. We have opened up we have brought in...
But opposition can't even be seen on the state broadcaster. That has been the complaint from the opposition, that in terms of access to the state broadcaster, they don't get covered.
I don't know which opposition. Let me just tell you this. Just yesterday, one of the leaders of opposition was right there talking about how they had come up with their candidates. They were talking either they want to be on television. By the way, journalists are called when they are carrying out their whether it's a press conference they call who they want. Sometimes there are opposition parties in Zimbabwe who feel, oh no, we don't want this one, but they actually choose. And this is not our policy. Our policy is to cover everybody.
The other thorny issue is the continued incarceration of one of the MPs, Job Sikhala. What is the position of your government in relation to this matter? Yes, you might say the judiciary is independent, but when I was talking to a former minister in Zimbabwe who is sympathetic right now, he has changed tune in terms of ZANU-PF and government, Professor Jonathan Moyo, who defended the Patriotic Bill, but was very scathing, saying the continued incarceration of Job Sikhala, it's a horrible thing. It doesn't project Zimbabwe in a good light.
Sophie, there are three arms of government. There's the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. And these are independent. They run the judiciary. If you commit a crime in Zimbabwe, it doesn't matter who you are. The judiciary will go through all their processes until they find you guilty or not guilty. So as for me, that is an issue which is under judiciary, and they are doing their work. And I have as government from the executive, we don't interfere.
Let's talk about the Patriotic Bill, or this clause that is looking at taking action against individuals or organizations who are criticizing or using other means to share their views about the situation in Zimbabwe. Many people are saying they go out of Zimbabwe to speak to the media, to speak to opinion makers, to speak to influential people, because in Zimbabwe it is not easy to be able to speak freely. And that is why some of them have gone as far as engaging other governments to assist, because the situation is not good in Zimbabwe.
First of all, Sophie, let me tell you, the Zimbabwean government has got nothing to hide. Very transparent, accountable. You have seen what we have done. We've introduced post-cabinet briefings just to make sure that we are accountable to the electorate. I also want you to know that there is nothing to hide, because everything is on a platter. We have told you about opening up of airwaves. You should at least give credit to the Zimbabwean government, the Second Republic. After 42 years, with one national broadcaster, We have licensed more than 6 commercial televisions and about 14 community radio stations. And all this is done to fulfill what is in our constitution, freedom of expression. And this is precisely why we have all these TV channels out there. And I would be surprised to hear that there is anybody who is not being given an opportunity to talk on all these channels.